And we are back with another episode of Commercial Roofing Radio. I got my buddy Jon in the building.
What's up,
Jon,
dude?
what's going on, dude? How we doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Life is
You're
good.
looking good, man. I'm feeling the energy right now.
Thanks. I lost some weight.
Yeah, you getting back in the gym? You're probably trying to keep up with your wife, isn't she? She's fit. She's like a fitness model, basically, or something like that, right?
My wife is an absolute beast.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta speak quietly. I can't give her too much credit. She'll start getting a big head. But yeah, I gotta keep up with her, man. And I started getting flubby, Nick. I did. So yeah,
What? You were getting flubby, dude?
Oh,
bro,
definite flub. Yeah.
So
I got a second chin there for a minute. Yeah.
So, all right, for those of you who don't know, right, we got Jon Townsend in the building here, good buddy of mine, great dude. And when he's talking about, some blubber or some extra weight here, I'm getting a little disappointed, my man, because he might be in the roofing space now, but he used to be a professional athlete. So he can't like guys like me looking better than him or something over here. You know what I mean? Especially, with that kind of background.
Yeah, man. Those days that ship sailed. I'll just say that.
Mm-hmm.
I was, but as a result, I've never been accustomed to gaining weight, right? Like, I could never gain weight, but now it's like, oh, baby, you can gain weight.
Yep.
So, but no, I'm feeling good. We're getting there. Pro athletes, I miss those days. I miss how I looked and how I felt, but at the same time, I feel really good now. And that's another thing is like, we have to create space. You have to create space so at the end of the day, work is work. The to-dos are going to get to done, but what are you doing that's going to just make you feel like you're getting 1% better, like you are investing back and being a steward of what you've been given. And man, it slapped me right in the face. I was getting out of shape, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
you're blessed with athleticism and it's making you tired, like with athleticism and energy, and you need it and invest in it. Like,
Yeah.
pour into it. But nobody's ripped like you, Nick.
Yeah, all right, you're making me blush now. But no, all right. So you started to gain a little bit of weight, whatnot. What kind of set the trigger where hey, it was time for a change? But let's be for real. We all have these moments, For me, I noticed the last couple of months I was sleeping in too long, right? I'm always the best version of myself when I wake up early, and now I'm back on it, and I'm feeling that. So what was the trigger for you?
Oh, there's a picture of me. I'm not gonna find it. I actually think I made my wife delete it. It was a picture of me with my shirt off, holding my daughter. My daughter. I have 4 kids. I got a 9-year-old, 2 6-year-old twins. Happy birthday! They just celebrated their 6th birthday yesterday, and my daughter's gonna turn 2 in December 1st. So I was just holding her. She was like sitting on my chest, and I said, "What in the world is that?" Right? And my wife kind of looked at me like that's what's going on, but like she's sweet enough to not like she's a great coach. She's a fitness beast, and she coaches people and she'll hold them accountable, but she's sweet enough to her husband to allow me to figure it out on my own. So I figured it out, and I said, nah, man, I gotta turn something. But the effect it has on you mentally, I think, like when it comes to fitness, I mean, looking great is fine, but if you just don't feel like you in your skin, it affects everything. It affects the way you walk, the way you carry yourself, the way you speak, your eye contact, tonality, anything, and regardless of your station or what role you play. So I just had to take a hard look at myself and say, Jon, let's go.
Amen to that. Let's go. And we're going now. And now we're rocking and rolling, man. Looking good. I love it, dude. So you okay? Thanks, so for those who don't know, Jon, he played shortstop and third base for the Florida Gators, right? Eventually, you were signed by the Los Angeles Angels as well, and played 5 years of professional baseball. Developed a love for coaching. We'll talk about that, how that kind of took you to where you are today now. in the roofing space, helping hundreds and maybe even thousands now of contractors across the country. Completely superstar coach, helping so many people. But when we're looking at the sports side of things, you grew up an athlete, and that was that almost kind of like your identity, would you say, or how big of a part of your life was that?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that. I grew up in an athletic family, so I had an older brother that was always playing sports. My dad played college football and baseball for a time, uh, but yeah, it was something I was naturally gifted at, and I never really had to try, and so I gravitated towards I didn't want to be pretty good at sports. I wanted to be like the best, right? Like, when you get a video game,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I haven't played in a while, but you get a video game and it's a sports game, and you're able to up the attributes of your athlete
Yeah,
or
create a
whatever, and like
player, of course, of course.
make them superstars. Like I used to do that, and I would beat teams. I mean, basketball, 150 to 30, and or football. I would like. So my goal has never been to just like be pretty good. Like deep down, I've always wanted to just dominate, and so, but it was something I just naturally. Kind of naturally found myself. Yeah, it certainly became a part of my identity from early on. A part of my identity, um,
Mm-hmm.
and and oddly enough, baseball was probably my least favorite sport. I think you and I talked about that once. Um,
He did actually.
Baseball was my least favorite sport to play. I grew up in Kentucky, so if you can walk and chew gum, you're going to play basketball, and it was by far my favorite sport to play. But I actually thought about quitting baseball because our basketball season ended early, and I was so mad and I wanted to get better. And my dad and my brother were like, "No, you're not quitting baseball." So
Mm-hmm.
it ended up becoming a career, and I was incredibly blessed with my through baseball and the people it allowed me to meet and play with and against, and I was able to travel basically all over the country, and yeah, get paid to do it, right? So
So
I
when you
and like yeah, good.
well, I was just about to say, when you're looking at you were telling me before we got on here that grit is a big thing for you, right? You always been work ethic, show up, get the job done,
Yeah.
development, all that kind of stuff. You know, did you always kind of have that when you were kind of going through the ranks? Was it the big vision of making it to the MLB that kind of pushed that into you, or how did that happen?
You know what? Not really. Like I grew up in a small town, and so I guess you could say when it came to sports and like I was a big fish in a small pond, right? And then I got to college, and then it, and I bounced around. I went to a 4 year school. Then I didn't get to play. I had wrist surgery, medical red shirt. Then I didn't get to play. And then I went to a junior college, and then I wound up at Florida. And so it was this. The grit came from. It wasn't pretty. Like it was all of a sudden it was forced upon me. It was like, hey man, you're no longer this guy. Like you've got to work and you got to scratch and claw. You got to earn it. It's not going to be handed to you. Nobody's going
Mm-hmm.
to do it for you, right? Um, and so I think that's why grit shows up so much in my life now, and in turn in my coaching is because it didn't come to me naturally. Like I took my lumps and I got defeated, and fight or flight, I flew, and a lot of times in my life, but it developed grit that I recognize now. I hope that makes sense, along with a whole bunch of other stuff, like just
Mm-hmm.
um,
And
having to.
I think
I
if
feel
you,
like
I think if you're a contractor out there too, that there's a lot you can take away from this. If you're looking at Jon, he was just straight grit, right? And that's kind of the key word that we're focusing on here. He went all the way from junior college, injury, ends up going to Florida, gets assigned for the LA Angels. Like that's really really unbelievable. And if you think about it, if you're an owner, maybe you've been doubted or you've had some ups and downs in your career, hey, chances are you probably have some grit developed, right? And you lean into that
mm,
as hard as you can because what's crazy is that could be the separator on who is the best. I am telling you, the people that just keep showing up no matter what, they're straight savages. You know what I mean? And you're not gonna be able to stop them.
That's you, Nick.
Hey, I
That's
appreciate
you,
that a
dude.
lot.
I'm turning it back. Yeah, you show up uniquely you, and you don't stop. And I'm sure you've taken lumps, but man, like at the end of the day, here's the other thing I think, and talk about grit in my professional career. Um, I'll share this quick story if you don't mind.
Let's do it.
I was literally signed by Angels because there was an epidemic of pink eye. I was undrafted. There was pink eye all throughout the minor league. This is a true story. I can't make it up. Pink eye all throughout the minor league organization. Guys were going up to the next level and passing pink eye and then coming back down and passing around pink eye. And I literally got signed because, and that's what the manager told me. He said, you're here, you're never going to play. First words, not the strongest first words you want to hear, but he says, you're never going to play. You're just here in case somebody else gets pink eye. And because your coach at Florida said you're not a turd. So that was how I got there. And so there was every day my job was in question. Right. And, fast forward 4.5 years with the Angels, like I wound up earning a starting spot. And then the next year at spring training, they'd say, JT, we don't have any room for you. You're probably not going to make the team this year. And then I would make it. And so like the reason I'm tying this back is the reason I was able to stick around and call it grit, call it what you want. But like, it was because I showed up and I just did the right things. And I just think that so much of that, like, we can feel like when things are going well or when things aren't going well, like I can throw in the towel. I can cut and run. I can let go of this person, but showing up every day, committing to developing yourself, committing to developing your team, being there for people, doing things that aren't necessarily required of you, right? Showing up for yourself and your family, creating time in your calendar to do it, like just doing things the right way. If it gets noticed. It gets noticed, and people start having your back, and it manifests.
You no matter what the environment, it doesn't matter if you're on a team, if you're in an organization, you always notice the people who seem to hustle harder. Always the people that just seem to hustle a little bit harder just to get that loose ball. Because the thing is, now all of a sudden, every day they're getting a loose ball, and you start to notice because it starts to add up. And then what happens is that person starts to build confidence even more, and now they're dialed in, right? So, what about right now when you're looking at contractors? I feel like the market's in such a weird space, right? We were shut down for COVID. On the commercial side, there's people with supply issues. They're talking about recessions, inflation. It's an interesting marketplace. It's one of those situations where you want that trait that we've been just talking about with grit. So, in your coaching, what are you talking to contractors right now about with the market in the current situation?
Yeah, I mean it's a great question. So we work with all shapes and sizes of contractors, various trades, primarily roofing, and I am the group that I specialize in. It's part of our Contractor Boost program. They're smaller contractors. They're stage one contractors. And so maybe it's one guy wearing all the hats.
Startups, right?
Yeah, startups, or maybe they've tried. They've just never been. They're stuck. Like they've hired a bunch of people and it just never worked out. They can't keep salespeople. They feel like I don't know how to grow without going crazy or totally losing control of this thing. So they are at a unique stage, right? With all the uncertainty, right, that you're speaking about. They're not thinking they don't have a 5-year plan. They're saying, hey, I want to be in business 2 years from now. Like, I want to stay in business. And so much of it to me, like of your ability to say, regardless of what's going on here, is at that level is all based around your vision. And when I say vision, it's like, okay, what do I want this baby to look like in a couple of years? Think 24 months. What do I want this to look like? What do I want to be doing there? Right? Who else needs to be involved? And then why would they stick around and hang out with me? To me, that's like, what is it about me? What is it about us? Even if I'm not there yet, what is it about us that would make them want to stick around, like these key critical players, right? And that vision that you cast, it can't be something that you just, put in a binder on a sheet of paper and it winds up in a Google folder and you don't see it for the next however long. No, it's got to be something that's in close proximity to you. This vision of where I'm going, and how the exciting possibilities of being part of what I'm doing. Because it's not only going to excite you, it's going to excite those key critical players, right? And it's going to repel people. It's going to repel people they're not willing to live up to those expectations. That's okay. It's better than wasting time hiring and firing. So focusing on the vision, and here's the other thing. When we focus on what this is going to turn into, like when you put yourself there and you start dialing it back, and then you focus on, okay, it just challenges your strategic thinking. And you start saying, okay, what's the next step? Like, how do we get out of just the day to day? All right. Like I own a home. I have 4 kids. There's a lot of day to day stuff, like to keep this ship moving forward, right? To keep the kids happy and healthy and fed and alive. And there's a lot of day to day things, but then there's these projects, these things that I know that I want to do to improve myself, to grow as a family, to grow as a human, to grow as a coach, as a husband. And so we, as business owners, particularly in that, well, regardless of your size, but I see it more often in the small guys, is the focus on where you're going will help you create the very next step. Like, so that I can strategically plan out, like, regardless of supply chain issues, like regardless of workforce issues, regardless of the economy, I have a plan to get. This is my plan. This is my next best step. And I think that when we do that, it stimulates our brain. First off, it's like psychological, right? Physiological, I should say. But it stimulates our brain. It keeps us dialed in, and gives us, dopamine. That's and then you doing it. And it's also, when you think strategically for yourself, you start owning it, right? So it's like you start to believe in yourself. So it all comes back. If I could just throw this in there too, man. I know this is like a long answer, but that's what this is all about. It's like there's uncertainty everywhere. But if you believe in what you're doing, you believe in what I'm doing is important, then you start to say, okay, here's what this can turn into. Here's how it can impact other people, not just me, other people, my community, my family, my teammates. And then you start thinking strategically. But if you keep that vision close to you, if you keep that vision of where you want to go and how you want to get there close to you, you are going to start thinking strategically about the best next steps, right? And you're going to start believing in yourself. That's what it comes down to, man.
You have a few things I wanted to recap on that I thought were really important. First off, the big thing we were talking about is how do I get these A players to stick around and want to hang out with me? That one is absolutely huge, right? A players. Yeah. That's what you need. How can you have a brand, an environment, and a culture that you can attract and retain A players? You build people, they build a business. Trust me. You can't do it alone. If you're trying to think big or grow at all, you're not gonna be able to do it alone. So you need great people. And then the vision, right? They can make money at a lot of these different companies. Obviously, you want to pay your people well, but what is that vision that you're selling? Now, it could be for their career path. It could be for, something that you're trying to achieve as a company, the mission statement, stuff like that. We know something that's, it's small, but, for us, for a vision standpoint, we always have certain revenue goals that we want to hit every year. Last year, we got to go to Mexico for it. This year, hey, we get to go to Costa Rica if we hit our revenue goal, and we get to bring our significant other, right? Which is a big one too, because then you can really create that bond. But our Slack channel, our big one, it's called Costa Rica, right? So every morning we're all talking on Slack. It's called Costa Rica. Have we hit our goal yet? Not yet, but it's still, we wake up and we see it every morning. Some of us put swimsuit, pictures that we're looking online that we're, hey, I'm waiting to buy this. You know what I mean? It's something to drive towards. You need something to drive towards. Just like in your schedule, you always have to have something, that you're looking forward to. You need it.
Yeah, that's great. It's things like that. How do I find the right person? People. Who's the next person? Who's the first person? Whatever stage you're at. how do I find them, and then how do I keep them? That's kind of the, I mean, that's the $1 million question, isn't it? Um, but man, so much of it goes into what you, just Costa Rica. This is an exciting part of being here. This is something that separates us from everybody else, and it reflects. You know what else? It reflects in how you go to market, the way we treat each other, and the way we talk, and the excitement we build within the walls of our business greatly affects how we go to market, how we affect how we talk to our customers, how we do our work, how we hold each other accountable, how we communicate, right? Our core values. Like that's the that creates the glue. It's like it's things like that where and think about it, Nick, as executive, you're like, man, I want these people to love what they do. People that
For
come
real.
work for me, I want them to love what they do. Like that's how probably how you. I know you well enough.
It is. It
Probably how
is
you
a
guys
big part of it because I mean, well, I had good managers, but I had one that stood out that just wasn't the right fit for me, and I just didn't really enjoy it. And so for me, I was like, all right, I need to figure out how I can be a good manager that can adapt to people and the way they want to be treated. That was gonna be a big one for me. And then I wanted a culture that was fun, that people were excited to work for, and so like I think because not that many people like their jobs. I think, in America, it's like 14% or something like that actually enjoy their work. So I'm like, hey, I want to be part of that 14%. That's kind of part of my personal mission, I feel like, in a way, too.
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I have yet at Contractor Coach Pro, um, or even just in personal life, like in my friends and my network, I have yet to hear an owner say that like I don't really care if my people like working here.
Mm-hmm.
Like they all said there's this common denominator of I want to build this team where everybody's bought in, they're doing the activities that they need to be doing, they're disciplined, and they're seeing results, and now they believe in themselves, and they're creating. I want them to grow, like, and they're not talking, yeah, that's going to benefit me as owner, sure,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not the narrative, that's not the dialogue. The dialogue is all about other people. It's all about your team, and it's all about helping and them and their families, right? And I think we have to recognize that, and we got to do a better job of that. How do I get people? I've got to be willing to go out there, step out there, and tell them how cool it's going to be to work here, because this is what I care about. I always say when I'm helping people uh, draw out their vision, right? I say, yeah, pretend like, and you, because you hear a lot of the same stuff, like, hey, when I ask why do people want to work for you? What's unique about your culture? And people say, well, we're not just a roofing company. It's a great culture. It's a family atmosphere. We want everybody to feel like family. We want everybody to feel involved. We want everybody to make a good income, make a solid income, competitive. But they say these few things over and over. They're like, we're not just a roofing company. It's a family like culture. Everybody's involved. And then I say, okay, pretend you're giving that speech to a group of like 100 people and you're on stage. And then somebody raises their hand. Some dude in the crowd raises their hand and stands up and he says, hey, I've heard all that crap before. Prove it. Right? And so a guy like Nick is like, well, look, we hit our revenue goal. We went to Mexico. I took everybody. This year we're going to do it again. We're going to Costa Rica
Mm-hmm.
with your significant other, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we do it. We're not just a roofing company. Like we give to this charity. We believe in this cause. I just got off the phone or just got off a call a little bit ago with a small company in New Jersey that is heavily invested into autism research and support for local families who have autistic children, and then also foster care, like foster care. And I'm like, this company, and it's a brother and sister. This company exists to keep families safe, to keep families together.
That's
You know what I
good.
mean? And so like somebody, I just got chills. Like somebody raises their hand in that crowd and says, "Hey, prove it. I've heard all this stuff before. Prove it." Like, okay, look, this is why we exist. And now everybody who they bring on, if they communicate that, here's the thing: you communicate that with prospective employees or people, even people from other industries who just want to be part. People want to be part of something bigger than themselves, and you start communicating that. Hey, this is what we're about, and I can back it up because we've done this and this and this, and we're going to continue, and we have a vision to do this in the future. All of a sudden, you create this unique magnetism that's bigger than just whatever in the world you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and you want to think about that, right? As an owner. So what's your pitch? Not only your pitch to your customers, but what's your pitch to someone sitting down in front of you interviewing, and you know they're top talent.
Yeah.
I think for me it's interesting. Like I was thinking about like other things that I could say even while you were talking there. I'm like, man, I wonder what I could say. And some of our team members actually says this. So I'm gonna steal it from I think it was Ryan started saying it or something like that. But it's like, hey, it's like working on a group project, right, in college with your best friends, right? And you're on like a rocket ship, right? You're actually building something that is going from nothing to something, and you were a huge part of that. And now you have a chance to kind of disrupt an industry with that, and that
Yeah.
gets you excited.
Yeah. And I don't think you could pull me away from that if you tried.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you could headhunt somebody who's got that level of fulfillment, doing what they love with the people that they love. Um, I'll share this. Before joining Contractor Coach Pro, um, I left the previous role, and I was looking to kind of start my own thing, and I was building it. And then and Jim and Nathan, we've been friends for a couple of years, and so they knew me culturally. Like culturally, we got along, but they got to understand me as a person. Um, and I didn't even know what they did. And if you're probably you might be the same way, Nick. You might be like, I mean, I know CCP is good. People, they I think they do this, but I was in the same boat. I didn't even know really what we did. But the vision for the company was spelled out for me. This is where we're headed. And it was really exciting to a guy like Jon. Like all of a sudden, would it be exciting to other people? Probably, maybe not. I mean, well, obviously not. Like we're a pretty small team still, but the vision was cast of where we're going. And I want roofers out there. I want you owners and contractors to hear this. My life changed. The trajectory of what I was going to be doing changed because someone spelled out they had a vision for where this is going to go. And I was sitting there thinking, where is my spot on this roster? That sounds really good. It's what I want to be doing. I like these guys. And it didn't matter. I could have been in a whole other industry. I just knew that this was fulfilled a purpose. I love to coach. I love to empower people. I love to help people take ownership of their careers. But even before I knew what they did, all they did was share the vision for where we're going and how it's and then the wheels started turning. How it could impact me, how it could impact my family, how I could impact other people, how I could start. And I love to coach. I'm doing what I want to do with the people I want to do it. And well, now I know what we do. But this was this was even before. I mean, before I said yes to even working here, they shared the vision. So you can't be scared. You can't hold that in. Like this is who we are going to impact and how we're going to impact and what it's going to look like. Fast forward, we have a plan to get here. I'll prove it. Like, do you have that? Are you able to say those things confidently? Do you, like, for real? Can you say 24, 36 months from now, this is what we're going to look like? Here's who's going to be involved. Because I hear who's going to be involved, and I started thinking, wow, is that my spot? Is that my job? I'd like to have that job. Does that make sense?
I love that. So basically,
Sorry,
it's the same. This is
I
the
get
same
fired up about
situation we're talking about, though. Right here is they saw, right? Contractor Coach Pro saw a guy like Jon, who was an A player, and he was about to do his own thing. They knew that they had a seat on the bus or a roster spot that was open and fit him perfectly. They pitched the vision with passion, clarity, boom, done. So
conviction.
it's almost like, hey, as a roofing business owner, recruiting, if you can make recruiting through your vision, one of your superpowers, it's game over. Because after I've been in business for 5 years now. I'm still learning, but there's one thing that I'm extremely confident in. You're gonna need really, really good people, and if you have really good people, you're gonna have a really good company, and you're gonna have a really good life. I'll tell you that much. So,
Yeah.
I have a couple questions though for you that are I'm genuinely curious about them. So, at a business standpoint, so I figured I'd steal your knowledge here. So, we talked about uncertainty, all that stuff a little bit. I do want to ask though. So I know like a SWOT analysis is very popular: strength, weakness, opportunities, threats. Right. So when I'm looking at strengths, lean into them more. Opportunities, don't miss out. This is where these are you want to make sure you're focusing on these. Right. Weaknesses, I get it, but now threats is one that I'm very curious about, because how do you feel about the threat side of things, where how much time you spend on that, where you make sure that you're proactive rather than reactive, but then you're also not wasting your time worrying about things that might not even happen.
Yeah, that's really good. I think, first and foremost, I mean, the SWOT analysis is unique to every single person, right? And yeah, I need to understand my strengths so that I can leverage my strengths to take advantage of opportunities. I need to understand my weaknesses so that I need to understand my strengths furthermore so that I can use my strengths to help mitigate the threats, right? Or understand my weaknesses that keep me from opportunities and then maximize threats, right? So there's like this. So everybody's different in that regard. But then I also think that it comes down to what we talk a lot about is your risk tolerance. Like
True.
everybody has this. They're on the spectrum of basically, like, I mean, you've got the visionary guy that's like, I'm just gonna go.
I'm very
That crap will
impulsive.
buff out.
I'm impulsive, dude. I'm like, I'll jump off right now. Where am I going?
Yeah, and then like if something happens, that crap will buff out, and then you got
Yeah,
the and then you
yeah.
got the sky is falling over here. Like, so? A couple critical questions when we think about threats, because threats are out there. All right, we run risk assessments all the time, like just really collective, cumulative risk assessment. But the main questions you've got to ask when it comes to risk, I mean, you just got to get real. What's the likelihood of this thing happening? And then what's the worst case scenario if it did? Now, okay, there's a 1% chance of this thing happening. All of a sudden, it doesn't seem that critical.
I like
But there's
that.
a 1% chance of this thing happening. There's a 1% chance of this thing happening, and it could destroy my business. All of a sudden, 1% just got pretty big, right? 1% just became
Exactly.
a pretty big number. So I think that's critical. So it's actually an exercise that we walk our folks through. Is okay, understanding what are your risks. I mean, strategic decisions are a big risk. Like, do I go to new markets? Do I adopt different trades, different kind of work? And the further you move from the further you move from your current market or your current trade, the more risk you see, right? So strategic decisions, financial decisions, finances, on the whole, litigation, right? Like, you hear it all the time. I mean, okay, here's an example. Jim tells this story. Jim Johnson. He's like, yeah, we were in residential roofing. We got sued by a homeowner. We lost in court. He lost in court, and he met with his attorney. He's like, I'm never losing another court again. never losing another lawsuit again. And so what they did was his attorney drafted up this contract, and all of a sudden the fine print, the fine print, the legalese in the sales contract went from being like 1 page to 6 pages, and overnight, sales was cut in half. And Jim will tell you, man, I wouldn't even sign that contract. Like, but that's an example of, hey, this one thing happened. All right, how often is it gonna happen? And um, and what's the worst case scenario if it does, right? And jumping to a conclusion and saying, holy cow, I've got to assess, this is how I'm going to assess this threat, is I'm just going to throw everything I have at it, right? Because lawyers will draft up, lawyers don't like to lose. So they're going to make it airtight. They're going to, if that's what you want, they're going to do it. But that's kind of an overcorrect, right? So I think that's why I just have to, and I get those questions all the time. Hey man, this is going on with this homeowner. What do you think I should do? And I have to ask them this, like, how often does this happen? This is the first time it's happened. How much is it going to cost you? $7,000. Like, what are we talking about? Right?
I really love
So,
that explanation. Mm-hmm.
cool. Yeah. So, but yeah, I would write those two things down. Like, as you're running into threats, what's the likelihood of that could happen? Be honest about it, and then what's the worst case scenario, right? And then you can strategize. All right. Leveraging your people, leveraging your resources, specialists, and in our industry, because it's unique, and you need a specialist in legally, finance, tax, insurance. Find a specialist, and they can help you.
Awesome, man.
That's the best way.
All right,
Best
so
way.
so,
Yeah.
so for me, what I took away from that too is if you're analyzing those threats, because I know it's not ideal, to be looking at. Sometimes we don't even want to look at it. Hey, let's just focus on those strengths. Those look pretty good. But
That's
unfortunately,
not so.
hey, self-awareness is one of the traits of the most successful people in the world. So we're gonna focus on being self-aware here. So basically, let's see here. What John was saying is when you're looking at those threats, do a kind of a risk assessment. What is the likelihood of this actually happening? Is it high or low? And then what's the worst thing that could happen if it did hit, right? And that's going to give you some pretty good clarity on how much time to spend on those areas or those threats. Now, what about at a goal setting standpoint? So for me, I've never been the best at anything naturally, but if I set a goal and I want it, I will pretty much guarantee you I'm going to figure out a way to get it. And that's really been, especially in my personal life, I would say, if I have personal goals and I'm bringing that into business, but I'm still learning, how to do that. How do you feel about, goal setting in the business? And, should we be looking at weekly, monthly, annual goals? How do you break it down?
Yeah, it's good. I think I have a unique take on goals, right? I believe that. Well, if you this, there's a really good book, Atomic Habits, James
I've read
Clear,
it actually. Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I love it. I really like that book. And he quote he uses is, "We don't rise to the level of our goal; we fall to the level of our systems." Right.
Yeah, I
So
think I literally have that quote written down. I have these things called power quotes that I have in here, and I legit have that one
it's a
written
good one.
down, dude. Yeah, hold on. Let me. So you do not rise to the level of your goal, but fall to the level of your systems. I got that. That's awesome, dude.
Boom.
That's great.
Oh man, synergy. Um,
Yeah, right.
yeah, and it makes me think. So it makes me think of like immediately, and there's real strong parallels between like pro baseball and business. Pro baseball is a really long season. Everybody shows up. Everybody shows up to camp saying we're going to win the World Series. Nobody's going to show up and say, you know what, we're going to be like sub 500, and my job's going to be in question. No, we all have the same goals. But over the course of a long season, that's why baseball is kind of unique. Is it's just such a long season, and that it's all about your processes. It's all about. I can't win every single game. You're not going to. We want to. The competitor inside of us wants to win every single game, every single at bat, every single ground ball, pitch, you name it. But we have to understand that like it's the systems, it's the consistency of the development and the systems, and do we believe in it? How do we and then how are we able to monitor it and track it? So this goes into the goal setting. What I teach and coach. Absolutely, set your goals out there. Internally we call it a mission, annual mission, right?
I like
Like
that.
this is this is the one thing that we're focusing on, and we have fun with it. We name it like operation delegation, operation something, I don't know, operation Iraqi freedom. But so you set these goals. Hey, this is where in accordance with our vision, this mission is going to get us one step closer. All right. And it can be about anything. Maybe it's about getting followers. Maybe it's about revenue. Maybe it's about growing team members. Whatever your goal is, it's there. And now, yes, I believe, and I think that they should be tracked weekly. Like I think that if you have a goal that's really important to you, that's going to, if we accomplish this goal, and these are the main tactical operating priorities. If I accomplish these things, I will have accomplished this goal. If it's that important to us, then yes, everybody in leaders, anybody who cares about that getting done needs to meet once a week. And we need to take an honest look at, hey, are we on track? Did we do this? Okay, we did not. You familiar with EOS,
I am.
Nick? Yeah.
Yep, I
So
am.
that's kind of comes up in the in their level 10 meetings. But we have kind of a modified version that we use internally. Like we have a mission, and every single week we meet. It's called the mission meeting, and we take a look at the company, we take a look at the health of the company, of internally, like what are our numbers, what are the numbers that we care about. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, is that looks a little bit off? Do we need to talk about it? Okay, let's talk about it. But then ultimately, after we get through our numbers, like we're focused on the mission. Like the company is healthy. This is how as an owner, you say, man, I wish that I could just go take a 2 week vacation and not have to check my phone every 30 seconds. Like I want to be able to have, I want to be able to trust that the building's not going to burn down, that everything's not going to go south, and I can go away. Because you need to have something that you can look at real fast and say, okay, we're doing okay. Or, hey, something seems off. We need to have a conversation about this. So I believe they're all that likewise needs to be visited weekly. Like I need to have something that I can look at and say, okay, we're doing all right. But when it comes to the main goals that are going to change the trajectory of the company, we need to have strategic ways of getting it, and we have to weekly, very routinely, I would say weekly, need to have meetings to take an honest look and say, are we on track? Like, this is the main goal. I want to hit this number. All right. In order for us to hit this number, we have to do this, we have to do this, and we have to do this. These are major operating priorities. Are we on track to do this? In order to do this operating priority, these are the tasks that need to be done. Right? So, did we get this done? Are we on track? No. Okay, let's talk about it. What do we got to do to get back on track? Because goals are broad, and goals don't have a number attached to them. It needs to be sure. It needs to be measurable, right? It needs to have a definition of done. But I think that people who care about it need to be able to look at it. I love if you sat in on one of our meetings at CCP. I mean, it's fire. Like it's just everybody's pouring in, and we're taking honest looks at it at every single metric or initiative, and everybody's providing feedback. People are taking ownership of okay, this is not on track. We need to pivot. What do we need to do? People are always giving feedback. Like every company should have that. I believe that's how you're doing it. And it creates a system for accountability and process, right?
I completely, yeah. I mean, you nailed that one. And so I want to actually kind of go through some of the stuff that I put together, just to give you some ideas, because I literally just did this in the last few weeks. But before I do that, John, honestly, everybody clearly this guy knows what he's talking about. He's a great coach. I'm stealing some information for free right now from him because I told him I wanted to interview him, but really I just wanted to steal a free coaching class over here. What's the best way to get a hold of you, John?
Oh man, Jon, Jon at contractorcoachpro.com. You can reach me there anytime. Jon, Jon at contractorcoachpro.com.
If you make sure you guys get connected. You want him on your squad. You want him on your squad. I promise you that. So just kind of give you guys a quick idea too. So what John was talking about with the measurables and all these different things. He nailed it on the head, and I'm starting to kind of learn it myself. So basically, each department has their own dashboards, basically, right? So if we're generating leads for roofing contractors, I know how many accounts I have this week, how many leads we're generating per account. If let's say that for us, you can kind of grade your service however you want. You should have some kind of grading system for your service. I think that can be kind of good. But for us, if we hit our lead goal for that week for that account, we get a point. If we don't, we get minus a point. And so we call that our plus minus score. And then I break that up into, over the next 4 weeks and then 4 months. For sales, it's like how many bookings do we have? How many demos do we have this week? How many proposals do we send? How many monthly deals did we close? How many upfront deals did we close? And then we also have a plus minus here too, right? How much new revenue did we close versus how much money revenue did we lost because we have a recurrent revenue. But it just gives you an idea. And then for goals, each department has a thing called Crazy Eights, right? And they're the eight most important goals that we have that month. And you get a point for each one that you hit. So you can be unique with it, you can be fun with it, but you just need to have the data. As long as you have the data, then you can kind of go out there and be creative with it.
Yeah. And I think that again, I'm all about challenging strategic thinking. Right? So like we say we want to do this. Okay, well, what's it going to take? How far back can I reverse engineer it? So like, okay, this needs to happen. Like oftentimes
Mm-hmm.
the goal will change when you do that. It's like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I need to hire a marketing person by January. Um, well, what needs to happen before you do that? Well, we need a lot of revenue. We need to close deals. Okay. So what needs to happen for you to do that? We need better presentation software. We need training. We need sales process. We need, right. I need another salesperson. Okay. So now my get a marketing person probably changed to like be in a position to get a marketing person
So
because
true.
we've earned this amount of revenue. Right. So yeah, you're exactly right, man. And I love that crazy eights.
Yeah,
Did
I
I say it
appreciate
right? Is
that,
it
man.
crazy eights?
Yeah, crazy eights because I got from that card game. Because I struggled with the goal setting for a little bit because I was like, how many do I do weekly? Do I do monthly? And I was kind of going back and forth, and this strategy kind of worked for us. And now what we do is we still meet with each department once a week, and we go through those numbers for the week to see where we're at, right? So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like it, but I liked what you said though about when you started having this information, all of a sudden your strategic decision making gets way better because you have more information to work with. And so what happens, you're like, all right, for example, revenue goal. Everyone says, hey, I want to hit, I did 2 million this year. I want to hit, I'm gonna do 5 million this year. All right, well, why? How? What's the plan? It's so easy to put some exciting goal out there and be like, hey, I'm gonna hit this. So for us, we kind of struggle with that. Well, it's like, all right, we're recurring revenue. So we get to pull revenue over to the next month as long as they stay with us. So hey, this is the recurring revenue from last month, right? On average, how many accounts are we losing every month, right? What is the value
Yeah.
of that? How many
Yeah.
upfront deals do you think we can actually close based off how many demos we ran last month or whatever, blah, blah. Add that up in a
Yeah.
formula and say, hey, this is, I think, a feasible number. Now, I struggle with that for a while. I was just putting just random revenue numbers, but like there's no substance to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Something just occurred to me too that when it comes to goal setting, because ultimately we're trying to like we set goals, but it comes down to systems. Thank you,
Mm-hmm.
James Clear. But and ultimately it comes down to accountability, right? Like, are we doing this or are we not? Okay, did we do it? Did we not? And then how do we pivot to get better? And accountability, I think, comes down to love. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so when we think about, I think one thing that's really critical to not overlook is like I want to set a goal for my salespeople. For instance, do I know what that salesperson's goal is? Right? Like, personal goals are huge, and oftentimes the personal commitments are going to far outweigh the company requirements.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, do we understand? And they should, and likewise, they should be part of this meeting. Like, hey, this year I want to do this, or this year I want to learn this skill. I have a quarterly. Hey, Nick, I got a quarterly goal of quarter 3 to be down to 204 pounds.
Let's
And
go.
every single time, every single Monday that we meet, everybody's asking me about my weight. They're like, are you on track, John? Right? And I am on track, by the way. Let's go. Um,
Let's go.
but but I think that's a really critical component. So even as you're building out like we have the company requirements, and we know like individually, what's your goal, right? And as a company, we have these things that describe the health of us. These are the metrics that we care about. But now what do you want? Right? What are you looking to get out of this? Where do you want to be? All right. How do we reverse engineer that to activity? Right. And when we do that, the ownership, the accountability shifts. It's like, this is my commitment. This is what I'm willing to do. This is what I'm committed to do because this is what I want. And now it's like, from an accountability standpoint, I don't have to look at numbers and say, oh, you didn't do that. Shame on you. No, they look at it and they say, I'm not on track. The accountability shifts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people start really taking ownership of the goals that they set. And it comes down to love. Nathan talks about that all the time. Like, real accountability. If we understand what people are wanting to do, if we've equipped them to do it, right? They have the resources, the capability, the capacity. Like, if they are set up for success and they are not achieved, do we understand their goals? And do we have it documented? And they're not achieving their goals. Now the accountability is just about love. Like, I care for you and I want you to do this, right? How can I come alongside and help? And if we're not tracking it, if it's not in front of us, if we lose it, out of sight, out of mind.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I love that. Like I 204. I gotta be at 204 by October 1st. So, and
You're
everybody's
gonna do
asking me
it.
about it.
You're gonna do it.
Yeah, man. If I don't, I'm gonna hear about it.
Damn straight. People keep you accountable.
Yeah,
Accountability is love. That's so
yeah.
geeky when you said that. I was like, I've heard that quote, and I wrote that one down too. Accountability is love. Accountability is love, man. You know, it could be for other people. It can be for yourself as well. So we're gonna
And when
start
you have a
to
culture,
oh, go ahead,
yeah,
man.
go
Go
ahead. I
ahead.
was just gonna say, yeah, when you have a culture like the one that you've built, right, and you have a team that, like, it's accountability happens. It's just part of the natural conversation because
Mm-hmm.
you, like,
And
I mean, it's not like oh, we gotta have a separate meeting to have a hard conversation. No, it's just part of the natural conversation. It's just,
mm-hmm.
and then
And
it changes the
I'll,
dynamic.
I'll I'll say this too, and you know, this could be up for debate, but for me, it's just you just got to find the good people, right? You can develop from there, but motivation is very difficult in my mind to teach. Right? Either kind of want it or not. I could be wrong, but for me, find good people, motivated, desire, drive, grit, and then from there, you know, anything's possible.
Yeah, yeah.
But oh, hey there. You come here often? I feel like I see you every Wednesday. And, you know, you definitely caught my eye. I'll tell you one thing. You know how to stand out from a crowd. You already got a lot of great things going for you. I mean, I see your company. I see what you got going on. I want to be part of it. You know, how about I give you my number and you send me a text? 720-796-4935. Hey, yeah, it's Nick, right? Peakleads.io. I think we can help you generate some commercial roofing leads. Looking forward to chatting. Talk soon. John, we're
Comes
gonna
down to
take this
yeah,
thing into the game though, because you said that you're really really good at trivia. You're like, dude, all I've wanted to do is go on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire with Regis, and that was my goal in life. And I you know, I might not be Regis, but I'm gonna put you in the hot seat. We're gonna see if you can be a roofing millionaire. So basically, you have two lifelines. The first one is 50-50. So that would remove two of the answers, leaving you with a 50% chance of getting the answer correct. The second one is phone a friend. So you can call one person. If they don't pick up, you lose the lifeline. Are you ready?
awesome. Yeah, right.
Let's play.
Bring
Who
it.
wants to be a roofing millionaire? All right.
Millionaire.
So, when University of Florida baseball won the national championship in 2017, they became the only school in SEC history to win national championships in football, basketball, and baseball. Three other schools have accomplished this feat. Oh, so okay, one of the only, gotcha. So, which one of these four schools did not? So basically, let me repeat that because I had it, you know, a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of a mix up there. But Florida won the national championship 2017 in baseball. So they were one of the only
Mm-hmm.
schools, all right, to win football, basketball, and baseball national championships. Three other
Mm-hmm.
schools have done this, but which
Mm-hmm.
one of these is not that school?
Mm-hmm.
Is it A, University of Tennessee, B, Ohio State, C, UCLA, or D, Michigan?
Wow. Takeaway two.
All right, we're going with the 50-50. All
50,
right,
50,
we
50,
have
50.
two answers left. We have A,
Mm-hmm.
University of Tennessee, or D, Michigan.
Michigan.
That is incorrect. University of Tennessee. The Volunteers. Dude, you thought the Volunteers won in all those, dude? I don't know, man.
Yeah, man.
Football though, dude. I feel like other than the Peyton days, dude, don't they kind of stink at football?
Yeah, but it's not the same year, right?
No, that's true. So you're saying back in the heyday or something like that when they had Peyton or something?
Man, it's such a bummer. So am I done?
No, you get to keep going. But you have
Okay,
no
all right.
you have no belief in the Big Ten. It looks like, man. Come on, bro. Ohio State, and Michigan. Those are
I always wanted to
some
go to
real
Michigan.
deal school. Oh, really?
I
Yeah,
grew up in the
Michigan's cool.
Fab Five. Yeah, Fab Five, man. I always wanted to play
Oh
basketball in
yeah.
Michigan, but it turns out I was not, you know, gifted enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted. I mean, in Michigan, the helmets. Like, come on, that place is awesome. Dang it.
I do no. We'll keep going, but I do have to ask you
Right.
real quick. You have any? You got to play with Mike Trout, right? With one of the best baseball players in the league. Pretty cool dude, or what?
Mike's an excellent guy, man. He's still, yeah, um, he's an excellent guy. He does things the right way. He's one of those guys that just shows up and he has fun. It's a job and it's a grind, but I used to always think, and keep in mind, he's 7 years younger than me. So I like learned from this guy every day that was 7 years younger than me, but his mentality at a young age, his maturity was just off the charts, and he was able. That's why he is who he is, I think, and his parents are awesome. But he's an excellent dude. He still answers my texts.
That's
It's
so
like,
cool. I love that, man.
yeah, and he doesn't have to. He's a really good dude. I think a lot of him.
I love that, man. All right, we're gonna keep you going here, all right? You
Yeah.
played for the was it Rancho Cucamonga Quakes? How do you say
Don't hurt
that?
yourself. Don't hurt yourself.
How do you say that?
Rancho Cucamonga. Rancho Cucamonga.
Cucamonga. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you.
Cucaracha.
I growing up, dude, I was the worst reader, dude. I'm pretty sure I got dyslexia because I was trying to my business partner's dad was doing sales for us for a little bit, and when he get the credit card, he'd tell me the credit card, and I would jumble all of them together all the time. He's like, I think he got dyslexia. I'm like, that could be it. But then with I just in general a bad reader, and then Danae, she writes these questions, and I feel like she always just leaves one where I'm like, I'm gonna look like an idiot on here. So Danae, payback is coming. I know your weaknesses, and I will attack them. All right. All right. All right. What is the Quakes mascot name? Is it A, Treble, B, Rally, C, Tremor, or D, Dino?
Trimmer.
Boom. We're back. We're back. And he's hot.
Let's go.
We're 1 for 2. We're 1 for. Hey, if this was baseball, that'd be a good batting average. But unfortunately, it's Who Wants to Be a Roofing Millionaire. All right. So next question: how many SEC championships has the University of Florida baseball team won? Is it A, 15, B, 19, C, 13, or D, 17? She makes them tough because those are all pretty close. Who are you going to call here? Who we got?
What time is it? Noon?
Good call. Good call. Always be aware of the time. You know what I mean? Good call.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to call the guy. I'm gonna try to call the head coach.
The head coach. Let's go. This might be the coolest phone of friend right here. We're calling the head coach of Florida baseball team to see how many championships they got.
Is it regular season? Like,
oh, SEC championships. Sorry, SEC championships.
if he doesn't answer, I gotta go.
Come on.
Hi, this is Kevin O'Sullivan, head baseball coach, University of Florida.
No, you let you down.
At the tone, please
Hey, Sully, it's JT. I'm on a game show, and you were my phone a friend. No reason to call back. I'm bummed out. Hope you're doing well. Peace.
Oh, dude, that's epic,
All
though,
right.
man. That was the
Baseball.
good. That was the coolest phone a friend yet. I mean, I obviously wish he picked up, but in terms of lining up to the question, that was about as good as you could get.
Dang it. All right. So the options are what?
Let's see here. We got 15, 19, 13, 17.
13.
It's A, 15. You got to have more faith in those Gators, bro. 15 SEC championships.
Good for them.
Yeah, good for them. Good for them.
We did not.
All right, we got.
When I was there,
What's up?
we struggled.
Damn.
We did not win the SEC championship when I was there. So there's 2 years there. I mean,
Oh, well. I bet it was a great time, though. I bet you had a lot of fun. If I had to guess, it was probably a great time.
Great place to go to school, man. Just a really unique athletic program to be a part of. Really cool.
You probably do you have a Tim Tebow poster in your room?
I wear Tim Tebow pajamas, but
No way, dude. That's great.
Actually, you know what? We do. So my wife was a cheerleader, and we all went to school together. We went to school with Tim, and so my wife actually does. There is a poster in our garage with Tim Tebow right in the middle of it, and Ashley, my wife, she's on it. So
No
I got
way.
a Tim Tebow poster.
Dude, that's great. Well, hey, how about this? How about this? Because you're doing so well, you got one answer right. I'll buy you some Tim Tebow undies for a little gift for doing so well.
Thank you. Just give me like 4 pairs. Give me like 4 so me and all my boys can wear. We all were the same size.
Oh man! All right, it looks like we got another baseball question. All right, and man, she does not give you some room here. They're all pretty close in the answers. It's gonna be another tough one here. What year did the Los Angeles Angels beat the Giants in the World Series? Was it A, 2005, B, 2004, C, 2001, or D, 2002?
$2002.
Dang, let's go. You got that one right. 2002 is right. Let's go, man. Nice work.
Thank you. I know they didn't win it after 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Red Sox, 04.
The Red Sox.
And
yeah,
then,
that was nuts.
And then they didn't win it after that.
So we have one more question, all right, to close her out. But then I always let you end the show. Okay, yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Come on, Danae. But I always let the guests close out the show. So I didn't really give you a heads up, but we call it kind of end with enlightenment. So it could be a book suggestion, a quote, a life lesson. But that will close it out after this last question.
Okay.
All right. Last question. You're out in. You're still living in Florida, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won the Super Bowl a couple years ago against the Chiefs, what was the final score? Was it A, 27-9? B,
Are you kidding me today?
31-9. C, 23-7, or D, 31-20. And the fact that you're calling out today is so great because I always say this, and today doesn't get any crap from the guest. So finally, a guest is shooting back. I love it.
Like, which model of shoe did Mike Evans? Which model of did Mike Evans?
I feel like we should just make some trivia for Danae one day. I feel like we just gotta make her a trivia.
All right. I think I'm going with D.
You were going D?
Yeah, it was 31 to.
Let's see here. Sorry, I was slacking today. I was asking her a question. Let's see here. So it is B 31-9. So that is incorrect.
What was D? What was D?
31-20. Did you mean to say the other answer?
No,
I think you did.
I actually thought it was 31-7.
So exactly. So it was some miscommunication, but I think you had that answer right. So we're gonna give you that one. Yeah, we're gonna give you that one. I was trying to figure out too. I kind of zoned on that one because I was hitting up Danae. She actually, her sister's boyfriend, long-term boyfriend, Kirby, he used to actually pitch for the Gators. So I was trying to get his last name, so to see if you knew him by chance.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, man, I know him really well.
Really?
I know him really well. I actually used to coach him. It's Kirby Sneed.
No kidding. Are you serious?
Yeah, he's my buddy. He's in the big leagues. He was. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's dating Danae's sister.
No kidding.
That's
Kirby.
a small world, hey? Yeah.
Yeah. I coached him when he was like 12 years old, and now I'm just super proud of him. Man. He's worked really hard, and yeah.
Wow.
That'd be a fun conversation. Yeah. Kirby Sneed.
Dude, so, yeah, that's him.
That's right.
That is it. Yeah, now that you said that, I know that's it. That's crazy, dude. That's small work. Yeah, right. It's long now, man. Well, hey, the floor is yours now. The floor is yours. So take us home.
All right. Hey, first off, Nick, thanks, buddy. This was a really just love what you're doing. Love the impact. Love the positivity. Love everything you're bringing to the industry. Thank you for what you're doing. And thanks for having me on here. It's been an honor. Danae gave me a heads up. She was like, "Hey, give a parting word of wisdom or something." And I want to share this. Contractors, owners, managers, regardless of where you are, I feel like the biggest thing that I'm seeing people struggle with, when I say regardless of where you are, I mean the stage of your business, the size. If you're just starting out, if you're wearing all the hats, or if you've got a team, you got support, and you have managers, the biggest struggle I've found has come with time management and owning your calendar. And I want to share a quick tip from my personal life. I love to take my boys to school. I love dropping my kids off at school. It's like the coolest conversations ever, unless they're fighting, which is typical. But it's such a main priority to me. But I want to say that block of time between 7 and 8, right, of when I get them there on Monday mornings, it's tough. By saying yes to taking my sons to school, I'm saying no to prepping my day, prepping for Monday morning, right? So we have to. But it's so much of a priority to me that I block it out. It's gonna happen. It means that much to me. Everything else is going to revolve around it. Does that mean that the thing that I'm saying no to is going to go away? All the prep for the day? No. I just have to find a different time to do it, right? Either before it or immediately after it. It's before it. Spoiler alert. But I want to share this, in the spirit of taking ownership of your time and managing your time. Your time is valuable as an owner. It's more valuable than anybody else in the company, right? And if there are things that you are right now saying, man, I wish that if I just had more time, I would be doing this. I wish I had more time to do this. I hear it all the time. I want to work on my business, not in my business. I wish I had time to work on my business, not in my business. I wish I had more time to ... Whatever that thing is, pull up your calendar right now, pick your time and put it in there. Whatever the priority, I met earlier with somebody, I said, if you had more time to do ... what would it be? And she said, meal prep. I said, holy cow, excellent example. Pop it in your calendar. Everything else is going to revolve around it. If it means that much to you, and you have to work on your business if you want it to grow, and that doesn't, like Nick said, you can't do it alone, and it doesn't happen overnight. But we have to be intentional about it, because we talk about block scheduling, and creating this perfectly dialed in schedule. Let's be honest, it's not going to happen. But I'll tell you this: you can come pretty close. I've seen it, but because everything's being thrown at us. The thing I want to tell you is that if you're saying, and I hope this impacts you, and I hope you take it away, and I hope you try it. If you say, hey, I wish I had more time to do whether it's personal, hanging out with my kids, pick up my sons from school, pick up my kids from school, cook dinner. I wish I had more time to ... Go into your calendar right now and put it in there and watch how everything else just revolves around it. Like, you can find the freedom. You can find the freedom that you're searching for if you want it.
Let's go. Let's go, everybody.
Let's go,
John,
dude.
thank you so much for hanging out. Everybody out there, make it happen. I'm all jacked up now. Go win the day. Let's go.